Hey there, welcome back to this Croatian adventure. In the previous video, we traveled from the awesome historic seaside city of Zadar to Krka National Park with its amazing natural landscapes and waterfalls, and then landed in this place for the night, the town of Solin, just outside the city of Split. If you missed that video, I'll leave a link to it in the description and at the end of this one. Check it out. And now we are headed for the city center of Split to check out the ancient Roman ruins, specifically the Palace of Emperor Diocletian, and walk around the town. Yes, this escorted tour that I'm on is non-stop activity. This is not a lay on the beach for a week kind of a trip, but none of mine are. It's a very short drive to the center of Split, so let's go. Split is Croatia's second largest city, just behind the capital, Zagreb, which you've seen in my previous videos. The Split metropolitan area is home to about 330,000 people. Split is strategically located on a peninsula that juts out into the Adriatic Sea. And the historic center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The beginnings of Split are traditionally associated with Roman occupation, but the city was founded several centuries earlier as the Greek colony of Spalatos in the 3rd or 2nd century BC. Because of its legendary historic sites, idyllic seaside location, and favorable climate, Split is today a big tourist draw with record numbers of visitors, and has become the host city for international cultural and entertainment events. We had a limited amount of time to explore Split, as later in the day we were headed to Dubrovnik. A local expert guide led us on a walking tour of part of the town and within the confines of the town's biggest draw, Emperor Diocletian's Palace. Diocletian's palace is gigantic. It's formed in the shape of a rectangle and covers about half of the old town of Split. The name is a little misleading, though. It's actually half palace for Diocletian's personal use, and the rest a fortress that housed the Roman military garrison. Construction of the palace started around 295 AD and continued even after Diocletian abdicated the throne in 305. Once you enter the gate into the palace, you're struck with the sheer immensity of this place. And as you venture inside, you appreciate the complexity and intricacy of the details. How could such a place be built in the 3rd century? Following our tour inside the palace, our group was given free time to wander the town as we pleased. One thing you really must do in Split is to walk the promenade. It's called the Split Riva, with its great views of the Adriatic Sea. This is where you learn how much the Croatian people love having coffee outdoors with their friends, a long-standing social custom. Of course, here in the off-season, it's not very crowded at all. But if you come in July, well, you might have a different experience. I stumbled upon this market. It's kind of late in the day, so it may not be extremely active right now, but let's take a walk through.
Godine nadalje. Međutim, to nije bilo dovoljno. Andrej Plenković organizirao je doslovno združeni udar na pravosuđe kada je za njegovog stečajnog upravitelja postavio Ivana Čurudića, a u pomoć mu dao takozvani Lex AP. Čelnik SDP-a Peđa Grbin najavio je novi školski.
Samo britve do pešpinata, izvolite. Činjačuje britve.
Ostarili smo.
Ajka, roba što Pogledajte iskeče.
And there was one more thing for me to do before we left Split. Yes, please.
Čokletom.
Yeah, chocoholic.
Okay, there you go.
Then we head southward towards Dubrovnik. As we traveled southward, the terrain became more wild and rugged and very Mediterranean looking. We passed through Croatia's largest delta region, formed by the Neretva River.
The little town of the city is called Ploče, which means a plate. A plate of the river Neretva. So as the river creates delta, so you will see now, and as we're going to be driving through across the river and across the area, there will be you'll see quite a lot of canals dividing each sections of the land. And basically, if you've been to Netherlands, if you drive through the Netherlands, it's very similar. So the niche is part of the land. It's owned by a certain family ownership, and it's divided with the canals. Here it's again, remember, like in Krka, well, we have the salty water and fresh water. So the delta is on the right side, hill on the right side, that's a peninsula where we're gonna drive. And on the north side, if you go on the left all the way to the north, you end up to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Look how wide it is. This is the main branch. Everything grows naturally. See the trees here? Everything grows in their own natural way. So it's a very good quality of the land.
Soon we crossed through one of Croatia's top wine-producing regions.
And here we are. So we left the valley and now we are in the wine growing area. It doesn't really see that we are in the wine growing area, but it is. You have here in this area and on the peninsula where there are numerous of wineries, and they are producing the typical red wine from this area, being cultivated here for more than 2,000 years, and it's one of the well-known wine in Croatia. So if you like to try the wine today for your dinner when you're gonna eat, why here this part? Because the soil, especially these parts, it's red. If you really know, when you dig, it's red. That means it has a lot of calcium, and underneath there is a part of clay, which is perfect for wine growing. Plus the stones, which are around the vineyards, with what they reflect the heat of the sun, and which makes perfect for the wine production.
At our rest stop here, and we'll be crossing this bridge. This bridge connects Croatian land with also Croatian land, a peninsula, and the purpose of this bridge, built pretty recently, is to allow people to travel from Split to Dubrovnik without crossing a little patch of land that's part of the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now I'll walk over and show you that little piece of that land on the other side of the roadway. Well, kind of hard to see because the roadway is in the way, but over there is a little patch of Bosnia and Herzegovina that touch the Adriatic Sea. Nice rest stop there. No services, just bathrooms. And here's this bridge that we will be crossing over. I crossed over the ramp here close to the road so you can see this little tiny piece of Bosnia and Herzegovina. On a past trip that I took here in Croatia, I think it was in 2016 maybe, before this bridge over here was built, we had to do that crossing through the international border between Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina, and I remember everybody having to pile out of the tour bus and take their passports with them and go through the immigration and customs process just to cross that little piece of land. It was kind of fun, actually, and I think I did get that stamp in my passport. Really impressed with the highways here in Croatia. I think there's been a lot of EU money pouring in to improve the infrastructure, and you can see the nice motorways that connect many of its cities and tourist destinations. And I think having reached the southern part of Croatia, it's time to shed the jacket, the Polar Tech jacket, because it is downright warm out here. This is the main entrance to the Dubrovnik Palace Hotel, where we are staying for 2 nights. It's located probably a few kilometers from the old center of Dubrovnik, but pretty accessible because the number 4 public bus picks up here probably about every 15 minutes or so and takes you right to the main bus station, which is steps away from the old center in Dubrovnik. And at the time of my visit here, it's €2 for a one-way ride. So that makes this hotel very accessible to the center. Let's have a look inside. Five-star hotel. Reception area is on the left. We have a lobby area here with seating, plenty of seating. We have a small gift shop. Down on the lower level, we have additional seating and a fully staffed bar. And from this area you can get excellent views of the Adriatic Sea and the offshore islands of Croatia. An interesting feature of this hotel is in order to reach the rooms on, say, the 5th floor, which is where we are, you have to go down towards the water line. Okay, short room tour of my room at the Palace Hotel in Dubrovnik. So here we are. We've got 2 twin beds. We've got a mirror, hello. And the key feature of this room is, as I put down my camera bag and my jacket and my heavy backpack. So the key feature of this room is the balcony overlooking the sea. There, I had to get the door all the way open. And this is nice. This is very nice. And a couple of chairs and a table. Very nice. We've got a small desk here. A few outlets. But what I'm not seeing, unfortunately, is a kettle for coffee making. There's a closet with a safe. That part over there. And, there it is. The kettle for coffee making. And a bottle of wine, which I'm sure is not complimentary. Down here is the fridge. And it is stocked. The minibar is stocked. Over here, not sure. I think it's just a sliding door. Here's the bathroom. Okay, the light's on. And, yep. Plenty of towels, toilet, sink, a tub, shower combination, and these soap products. Okay, well, good. It looks fine. Coffee maker and balcony with a tremendous view. It's all good.